Hello everyone. Very good evening. This is Shrija Santanam, the host for the day. I hope everyone is staying safe and keeping well. First of all, thank you so much for registering to today's speaker series. So let me use this opportunity to give all a quick intro about DCKAP, the organization behind the speaker series. So DCKAP is a digital commerce agency helping businesses and brands abroad to create e-commerce storefronts. So that said, during these challenging times, being in the lockdown, it's very much important for every one of us to hone our skills to learn new things, to facilitate learning for our employees as well as the general community. DCKAP started hosting the speaker series, a virtual event that happens every Friday. So, through speaker series, we bring in distinguished thought leaders, technology masters, and change makers around the globe to address on varied topics which matters to the community most. So, having said that, I'm very much glad and proud to welcome Bhuvana Meenakshi. And thank you so much, Bhuvana, for accepting our invite. And it's my honor to give a small introduction about her. Bhuvana is a full-time research consultant at the Center for Internet and Society, and rest of her time, she also plays the role of CEO and founder of an early-stage tech startup, Limousine. She is also a Mozilla rep and explores Mozilla project on mixed reality. Adding feathers to her cap, she received Dr. Kalam Young Achievers Award, also Young Scientist Award from the Ministry of Science and Technology at the India International Science Festival. And she is also a Bharatanatyam dancer and runs Sanchari Nritya Academy, which offers a variety of dance courses for all age groups. And she's a well-known personality in the AR/VR community, and also like she have given a lot of national and international speeches across. And today she is with us to enlighten us with the upcoming technology and most interesting session on the unseen web-based mixed reality. And guys, stay put, and she's going to answer many lingering questions from you. And I hope you will have a great session today. And should you have any questions, feel free to raise your questions in the Q&A section that you can see at the bottom of your Zoom window. And thank you so much, Bhuvana, for accepting your invite, and over to you. Thank you.
So first of all, thanks all for joining and also for utilizing your Friday evening to learn something new on web-based mixed reality. And I think this is not something new for the series, but then I think this is more of like a follow-up session of what I think Hari Kumar has done as a part of the same speaker series, where he has given a very good baseline stuff about what are the trends in VR, AR, and MR, and how to deal. But mine is more focused on the web-based applications rather than the native ones. So yeah, let's quickly get into the session. Right. Okay. Starting with first the web VR. Um, so I just like, know that most of you would be really familiar with a lot of definitions that's coming because VR, AR, MR is very, very popular and also kind of very interesting to know. And but just that to just get into the pace of the talk, I am forced to give the definition as well. Um, so very as simple as that. So virtual reality is just going to confine you into a virtual world and to get more involved into the objects that's only present into a virtual world. And it's more of a different world where you go and try to also interact with, and there's no way to be outside of it, but rather it's you're just like into it. And it's mostly supported by a lot of goggles, VR based. There's specialized, especially a lot of support devices which is required to actually use or like experience VR. So it's it's all about, having a new world. Now, you may know that, this confinement is totally distracting, or like, makes you feel like, when the first time I tried VR for some kind of seeing a scary or ghost kind of stuff. I was like, no way to escape. I'm like totally involved into it. I'm like, I just couldn't be into that for some time. And every time I put on the goggles, I just feel like, there's something going to be scary that's going to come out of it. So it's like always like I felt that kind of a discomfort, when I'm totally into some alien space, and it's like you don't know what's happening outside. So I think for people who had the similar kind of an experience, then I think for us it's mostly augmented reality, which would be a greater option, because that's like, yes, I'm here, but still I can also add another object to my existing environment, and that's how it's going to be making me more interactive and more helpful, and also it's going to be just it's going to have me as an element to it. That's where the origin of AR comes in, or that's where AR, the concept, comes in, to augment the reality into your device or into your experiences as well. So there are a lot of AR based tracking that's into the market. Like, seen a lot of mobile apps, games, Pokemon Go, and Snapchat and Instagram filters. All these are augmented reality based. But then there's also this interesting factor of web as an element to the AR. So how easy is that to track, to go in for a web AR based experience is, you can just refer the link here down, and I just like open that for your convenience. Um, yeah. So yeah, web AR is certainly like progressing day by day and so good. And you should also give a try on AR.js, which is like very very interesting. Interesting one to implement your own customized based augmented reality stuff. And it's more of now it's more of like mark based one. So but then iJack with WebAR, which you can see on the screen, has totally given a new dimension to the web-based AR, and you can try this out. If you just have a mobile phone out there with any of the QR code scanning apps, or just like if you go into any browser and type on QR code scanner, you get one. So just try to give, just open your QR code uh, scanner, and try to scan over this particular, uh, code. And if you can actually see, it's like very interesting one. It's like it tracks the way your eye moves. So it's more of like eye tracker, and it's very very interesting, and also in a way like very unique thing that they have done into this particular module of WebAR, where wherever you try to point your eye towards the particular uh, screen, it just like kind of um, moves the dots according to your eye visionary, or like the way it tracks your eye. So like very it's this kind of thing is, when it comes into a real world, it's more of where it would expand into. It's all about our creativity, and where I find this would more expand into is, say if I'm going through a street, or we have the Google AR street map. So wherein if I have to locate a particular direction, then the AR just puts the uh, pops the the tracking points to where I have to reach. So in this case, if we just imagine we use an eye tracking and just think, I'm going to look for a particular in a particular direction. I'm going to look for a particular shop and try to divert my direction that way. And the direction would exactly specify to which side or to which way my eye is trying to point, and that way I can easily go through a particular direction, the smoothest direction I want to travel through. So I think we are really getting in more closer to the technology. Like, before it was totally like, something, uh, things were just progressing through, like, years before VR and AR were in existence, but we did not know where exactly, as humans, we can try to really combine, or like really find our needs get satisfied at a point. But now I think we're really like going closer to, in a way that it's just going to be helpful, and also in a way that it really satisfies our needs. So now moving towards extended reality. So in most of cases, it's like, uh, why do we have VR and AR separately? So let's combine, and that's how we have a mixed reality. But then the actual point where it comes to, the evaluation of the extended reality in itself is basically because you know to connect the needs in first place. And second thing I would more say is, to be intact, for the user, to know, if in case, just that an app I use, and it's totally going to make me uh, kind of isolate, or it's like going to just make me for a purpose, for actually, or the objective that's actually not going to deviate me from my point, or it's just going to stick to one particular objective, then I don't think any customer is going to rely on such kind of technology. Rather, a particular application or a particular uh, development of any product would be mostly to extend the usage of a particular technology. So that's what, in my perspective, why the extended reality emerged, and why is there more scope for the extended reality, um, with different competitions going over the market. So if you had keenly watched, where I was trying to give very basic stuff about VR, AR, and MR, I was also prefixing everything with web in it. So the reason is, I would be today more focusing on web-based technology for VR, AR, MR, and also uh, why web is, mostly you all know. Um, it's just a link. I'm going to just share a link, and you're going to open it, and it's going to be that easy. And you even if you had tried that web AR hijack, um, would have seen that it didn't involve a lot of effort from your side, rather than just an internet connectivity and just a QR code scanner. I think now everyone has a QR code scanner because of other applications, or just, again, you can use a QR code scanner using your web. So it's not like really utilizing your time, and also it's not really utilizing the speed and the memory storage of your device as well. So it's going to be as instant as that. And also, these are not just restricted towards any kind of browser. So and also there's like no kind of restriction, or no kind of forcibility for, you should have this particular browser only. So it's like any browser that's like, compatible with the latest, that supports the latest versions of WebGL and things like that, are the minimal requirements, and it could the browser is again like available on your phone, on your desktop, or tablet, or any kind of. So it's just like um, easily available. So that's why I prefer to go for more of a web. Yeah. So the prime uh, tech, or the tech stack, or the framework, I would say, which I personally use, or I also talk about, or like I also teach, is is A-frame. So A-frame.js is a very good framework. Is very good framework, and it's actually derived from C.js, and this has like very easier components and very easier way of doing any sort of. I think it's like very good to kickstart your experience for VIR, and and also any kind of web-based modules you want to do. So I think this is like very useful and very easier one as such. Um, I primarily went. I primarily started even my journey with web-based VR, because A-frame was like my favorite ones, and also this and also it's very easy frameworks of JS. So I think this has totally like helped me in also uh, do a lot of things to explore, and not much about. I can show you some demos, but then I can show you some simplistic coding and things for WebVR. But WebVR, I think we can do it on other day of a time. But let's just focus on WebVR today. Okay, so I think this is like very primary thing of the goggles and different thing that you can use. So it's when it comes to web-based thing, how will you see is will be another question. So if it's an app, or if it's like going to get just like going to add an application to an Oculus or something, is it? It's a different story. But how would you do it? How would you experience it if it's going to be a web based? So if it's a phone, like a Google Cardboard, then you just like put it on your phone. You open the web uh, browser, you open the application on your web browser, and put the phone on the device, and it's going to be easier. So when we move now to Oculus, or any other version which has like an embedded screen to it, then how do we really experience this web-based version would be a question. So now this for this part, what I would say is we can we can experience um, the VR or the AR using an embedded platform or a hardware. That is by using Mozilla's mixed reality initiative, and they have something called Firefox Reality. So this is the browser uh, which runs on on special devices like that of Oculus and HTC and other things. So it's so you have the browser now. So now it's just like you need to put the URL and experience your things. And so for people who cannot afford for any of these devices or anything like that, it's just going to be as simple as you're going to use on your device or whatever like hardware you have at home. So it's in a way very very um, I mean, compatible, and also I think it's not really going to take away your cost in experiencing or like to develop one as such. So, okay. In usual VR AR ecosystem, so where I would like to compare this is, not again another native application, because um, when you have to compete, or when you have to really compare or distinguish between the native based applications. It's more of you know comparison between them, and this is totally a different subject on the whole. So let's think only of web based VR and AR ecosystems, and what would be the major frictions, and what can be providedly avoided, uh, and how A-frame can address these frictions is going to be the overall thing that we're going to compare. So the first thing is mostly a gatekeeper. Gatekeeper is usually asking a lot of permissions, a lot of things that has to support for a particular application to run smoothly. So that's always like kind of a prohibition layer that does not allow you to access the experience as such. So this kind of really annoys the user. So there's no smooth flow in between. So that's where the barrier happens. And then a lot of time to load. So to load the objects in a VR ecosystem, there are 2D ones, but then they're mostly like 3D ones for more proper interactivity, because it's always like 360 degrees. So a 3D object is always that's really helpful. So uh, a lot of time it takes a while to uh, load, and or at times it's like you have to install some third party services that need to support. So all these are again adding more hectic issues. And also it's always closed in the sense they don't get easily adapted to in any of the 6 degrees of freedom. So I guess if you are familiar with VR, AR, MR, you know what's 3 degrees of freedom or 6 degrees of freedom. So this should be happening. That is, the 6 degrees of freedom should be like the validity point where it should actually support of all the directions and everything in a smoother flow irrespective of the hardware. So that's again a checkpoint. And so what we can do from A-frame is that to basically it's whatever I showed you in the previous slide, the 3 points which I showed you on the previous slide is basically countered, or like is basically looked in a more positive fashion in A-frame, where the connectivity is instant. It doesn't matter whichever hardware you're in, it gives a smooth flow, and it's also open source, so you can code, you can experience, you can just do things the way you want, tweak, do your own stuff, deploy, and basically expanding your creativity and just have fun. So yeah, so the reason why why the A-frame is more of you know responsive to the 6 degrees, and also why it is compatible with any of the hardware, is because um, it's because of the APIs that really help in smooth rendition of to the headset to which it supports, or it's like more of uh, you know the WebGL compatibility, um, that it understands the mediation between the sensor and and also the hardware. So um, that's why we prefer to go for more when it's developed on WebVR, for WebVR, then A-frame is a more justifiable one. Yeah. So in most of these cases, when you have to use a three.js, or just say like you want to try this out with just HTML cases in JS, and you can do that, but still it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of codes, and everything. So the work is made very simple in A-frame, which is, it's just these many lines of code that you have to do to create a small, simple sample of, uh, you know, like bringing any kind of a 3D rendered module. And so these are preset values like A box, A cylinder, A sphere, and A plane are just like preset values, and A sky is the kind of a background that's like just going to shield your whole um, 3D world. So, or I would most, I would more precisely call it as a virtual world. So I think that's like very good confined, and these are like preset values. So you can create your own 3D um, 3D objects as well. I'll tell you how is that later. So, and also you just need to import the latest version of A-frame. This is like point 0.5, this is like very old. So I think now we have the 10 or the 11. So you can try with the latest version of the A-frame. And and the latest version of A-frame has even more good new features and interesting ones. So this would be like a kind of an output for this previous um, simple code. So this code you can just run it on any of your editors, or there's this thing called glitch where you can try, or anywhere you um, any text editor or anything that you can use and run it on any of the browsers. It's going to work. So as I said already, it's very good and easy to embed it into any of your previously done modules, which is on other frameworks, which is Vue, D3, React, or anything as such. So it's a very, very good in, the flexibility is so good that, you can use this component to anything in any other framework to make it more interesting. So the actual core of the whole how A-frame works is because of its entity component based system. So you create an object and give life to the object is the most precise way of saying how entity component model works. So the component contains anything that you need to add to the particular feature, or if you want to add a layer of texture or color or animation or the way you want it. So it's more of entity component based system. So if you have this in mind, it's easier for you to make your own 3D based module. And these are like the ones which already exist, like these are preset ones. You can use the preset ones to make one, kind of, you add one from here, one from there, and make a kind of give more interactivity to your object. So there's no like any order in which you have to use. There's like so if you want to create your own registry, if you want your own component, they are fresh in the registry. So you can import that is, you can also download and use the ones, or like just embed the ones which are existing into your scene, or into your particular component which you're going to use. Or if in case you have got like very good expertise in doing your own A-frame component, then you can do one and upload it on registry, where it will be open for several millions of people. So a very quick tip is that and the inspector, when you check in this A-frame, will have a very customizable geometric values. So it's not every time like you need to go to your code and check and bring it back to the real world, like that is in your virtual world. Rather, you can tweak upon the values simultaneously and check. So it's like very easier to code and bring things into more simplistic way. So for further details, you can check aframe.io and get yourself kickstarted with doing some fantastic projects. So a lot of use cases are available. The one just running behind this screen shared is basically for medical, where like if uh, the for learning medicine, or like the doctor wants to perform a surgery with the heart, like they can actually check in a 3D module first, and then try to bring it into the real human interaction. Okay. So that's like one of the things, and there's so many other use cases, but just I try to bring one. And this is particularly the hero marker is like very old one, which gave the scope. I would say I will never forget this AR.js at any point, because even though like a lot of new things is coming up, because this gave a hope for that can be an existence for web-based AR. So I'm really thankful to the AR.js. And few demos I just have. I can probably go with the third example. This is like more uh, advanced one than the rest, and with given the limitation of time as well. So this is loading. Yeah. So there's a glitch which I told you, and there's like mm, a small demo here which I want to show. Okay, this is just a small animated planetarium. Um, you can just take a look of how it's been designed. I just introduced this mostly because people get an attraction towards how these are done, and it's also not very far away from the basics from whatever you've seen in the previous slides. So it's like more or less just used a few components and adding textures, adding animations, and things like that, and just like give you a starter uh, thought of how the whole of a VR experience will be. And you can try to bring in your own innovation after this. And you can see it's like hardly, with all the spheres, and just that we're giving some textures and things. And you can see, the stars kind of thing around. That's basically the sky component. And and also this, if you observe very keenly, then you can see some kind of shining aspects for the sky. And there's also like at what point, so it's like a lot of mathematical physics stuff that gets into like at which point should it rotate, in what axis should it rotate, uh, in which angle will be more suited for showing the 3D dimension. So this is more of that kind of knowledge that's basically required, and it's you needn't be really much skilled with the code and stuff, unless if you're doing something that's very advanced. So okay. I want to show something very interesting from Mozilla. So it's called a Mozilla Hub, and like this is what is like very more the next trending thing that after Firefox Reality. So Firefox Reality got introduced for the as I told you already, as a browser for the HTTP Vive, Oculus Go, and things like that. But Hubs was started with an intention to you know. I don't know if really Mozilla Hubs had predicted this kind of pandemic before, but then I think now it's got very famous and being used in most of the um, office um, groups and people from various organizations for the conference or whatever it may be. I think they've started to use this particular medium, because one thing is it's very interesting, and also it's like more virtual based interaction. and you can have your own room. You can have your own set of people inside. You can do a lot of interactive activities as well. Like, you can host your own presentation. You can have a virtual coffee. You can have whatnot, like everything. So it's it's certainly like start to um, really scale up well, especially in this pandemic time. And previously, I think it was just like, people for fun. We just go and hang around. But then now it's like started to become more of a productive based platform. This, I think, because my internet, I think, is like little slow, but I think, yeah, it should be fine. Okay. Yeah, I just allow it to load it for some time, and before that, um, okay, before that, let us talk about another interesting thing. So there's another thing that's more associated with the hubs which I'm talking now. So it's called Spoke. The Spoke is actually, a place where people design their own 3D world. So it can be, your own imagination of how you want the 3D world to be. It can be an outdoor place, or it could be a more confined, office space, or it can be a beach, or it can be anything that you imagine to have. And it doesn't require like very any pro skills and stuff, but then you can just join the community there and start creating your own social scenes. And it's like more of a 360-degree scene. So you can do this yourself. And then you can, where you can see the output, or where you will be able to see this, is in this hub. Yeah, it's loaded. So in this space, this one which I've been using is like the scene which is already available. So you can choose your own scene, or okay, you need to find it. Oh. So this particular scene is already preloaded, and you can create your account and choose other preset scenes, or you can create your own using Spoke, and you can just use it wherever required. And okay, if anyone wants to now join instantly, I'm giving you a small link to the room. You can share. Sorry, you can just put that on your mobile phone, and on any browser, which is on your mobile phone, laptop, wherever you're seeing this from, you can try to just copy the link and type it there, and I can show you like what will happen next. Okay. So okay, now let's just enter this. I just show you like all the features available and things like that, and then you can give your own name, or you can just leave it as such. It's up to you. But I think certain things are restricted to people who have logged in and who have not logged in. So I'm just using the non-logged in ID, for people who don't want to log in or anything like that. So I just hope I just lost the link to the particular hub which we were looking. So I just like, if you had got the chance to go in there, you can see, there's some tools there, some magical tools, and things to insert pictures. You can insert your demonstration. You can also do a lot of activities in there. Um, so I would leave that to you for exploring. And yeah, so this is one of the latest update from Firefox. It's it's Firefox Reality. It's, their um, support for Pico. It's also one of the very latest VR headsets, and um, and also they're providing the browser, Firefox Reality browser, for the latest version of Neo 2. And I think a lot of business which is oriented in giving via based applications are having a great eye on this. And also, if you want to experiment any of these VR or the Mozilla as mixed reality applications, say if you do not have a headset, so do not worry, there is an emulator which kind of simulates how the application will be if you are actually using any of the headsets, say Oculus or any of that. And say if you're not able to afford for it, then you can try the API emulator, and that would help. So there's a few links, I would say, like more to help you around to explore and play around the topic. And also, um, yeah, these are few social links to, you know, famous communities which uh, are more having discussions around, or like it's more of, you know, people who are behind the frame, and also Mozilla's mixed reality and stuff. So if you would like to stay in touch with me and also would like to explore for opportunities, or also learn more of how this VR and AR. I know like this 1 hour is not just enough to do hands-on stuff, but then um, if you're further interested to get along and learn stuff, you can contact me through LinkedIn or email or Twitter. So yeah, that's it from my side, and apologies again for for the small interruption, which was totally not on my hands. And anyway, thanks for the opportunity, and once again, I appreciate DCKAP for doing this in the trying times, and also having been part of Mozilla's and other open source communities. I really know how the struggle in an open source community lies, and but anyway, it all started from there, at least for me. So I always respect such communities, and also to be part of them in every context. So again, thanks for the opportunity, and I think now I'm good to take some questions.
So we got a question from Bharat Kulkarni. The question is why web-based? Most of the companies are moving towards app because it's more accessible and easy to update and support. Why not app-based?
Yeah, so it's definitely up to us to go for a web or app based. I'm definitely not to argue on that particular subject. Rather, I'd been like more focusing on, you know, what are the competitions in specific to the web based versions as such. But this totally depends upon your necessity, or, you know, say for companies necessity is more towards, you know, if they want to. I had a recent requirement wherein they wanted to integrate AR, one of the AR applications with their company's website. So in that case, I wouldn't promote, you know, someone to or I wouldn't forcibly ask someone to, if you want to use this application, you have to install uh, and like it's, you know, like kind of an additional thing that they an additional action that has to be asked from the customer to do, and also certain specs, you know, certain AR, for example, the native applications need certain devices, and it's like more platform dependent. So in those cases, I cannot target a wider audience. So it's definitely to us to whether to go for a native based application or a web, and it depends mostly on the needs and the demands of why, or the objective of doing the application itself.
Yeah, thank you. And we have a question from Kesav Raj. What do you think will be the future of use cases for web AR? And how will it change the way people do it already?
Hmm. So I I mean, the application wise, I would say again, it's based on, the use case wise is again based on, the demands and the way we want it to be used. And it no way it's going to differ. The objectives remain the same. Let it be on web or let it be on mobile. Uh, the objective stays the same. So to for what we're going to use or what we're going to have, it's the same. Like say if I want to use a marker based or a markerless based, it's just going to be the ideology behind it is the same, but just the way we're going to have it on a web, um, eh, it's just that going to differ whether I'm going to have it on a web or a application. That's going to be like a more wiser decision. That's one who's going to build or the person, if it's like a requirement, then it's like again, it's again the wiser decision to make between them. But I would say it doesn't. I mean, what would the greater difference be? Is again, it's just about the code or the framework you're going to use. So the use case again remains the same. Nothing much that's going to differ.
Cool. And the next question, when can we expect to see the use cases of AR, VR, and MR in real life?
So if you had been using Snapchat, Instagram, and if you had been trying Pokemon Go, or if you have been to malls, there are VR arcades, game arcades, which have this. So we are already started to live a life with VR and AR, no doubt. We have started to get current good scope and applications which we're running a life with. And also, it's not that when we were going to start, so we've already started. Yeah, I think that answers the question. But I would say we're still into explorations. We have still not concluded this is the technology that we'll be using, or this is what the future needs. But we have uh, like with, I don't know if we've consciously started or without consciousness, but we have been using AR and VR, uh, in our real lives already.
Cool. So, on the next question, when can we see web mixed reality support natively by browsers without any additional frameworks?
Sorry, I couldn't get the
So
question.
when can we see the web mixed reality support natively by browsers without any additional frameworks?
Hmm. So, like right now, if you had observed the A-frame and things like that, it doesn't involve any kind of an additional component or additional anything. It's the latest browsers are very well supportive, and whatever is just handy in your device is going to be compatible for any of the web-based VR and AR. And especially I would say mostly if you had been trying with the A-frame like component, I mean A-frame based framework, it's just that you needn't have any additional support. So whatever I showed you now, do you think I had installed any additional add-on or anything to it? Just nothing. It was just that I clicked on some link and it showed you the output. So it's just like simple as that. No, we I think the current ones are like more. I think the current versions of A-frame are even more good enough to support any low-ended things. But then I would recommend you to use a high grade or updated version of any browser you use. And yeah, that's it. So I don't think there's a supportive system here.
Yeah, cool. So this is another question from the anonymous attendee. And how about Geo MR glasses? Any future for that?
Okay, so I saw the news about the GeoMR glasses and things like that, and what I was more is it was in a way very interesting to see a kind of an Indian made thing exploring into the market. But having said that, I haven't personally seen how it works, or like how does it really get into the line of the other ones which are around. Rather, I can guarantee you or tell you, how Oculus or Magic Leap or even you know uh, I mean Vive exists. But as long as it's going to be reachable and adaptable, and also like in a way, if they're going to guarantee that it's going to reach everyone's hands, I think then they are no way out from the other ones. So uh, the main factor that other markets on MR glasses they rely on is, uh, one thing is, of course, the cost factor, and that's the part where the reachability concern itself comes. So unless you reach your product to wider and like a larger audience, then it's not definitely a successful one. And also, it should be more of no one likes to stay inside a mixed reality glass or mixed reality any device when there are like a glitch for like 2 to 3 seconds as well. Okay, it's like very annoying. So if those kind of glitches, or if those kind of things are going to still sustain in this hardware of Geo, then I don't think how good will be the future. But I think it's a good start as such, because Geo is now exploring not only on MR but also on other IoT and other based technologies. It's a good start, but I think I cannot really tell anything more about it because I've not experienced it lively. Rather, I've just, like any one of you, I've just seen it on news and other social platforms about the specs and things like that. So, yeah.
So the next question. So what are the major limitations in web AR and VR? Like, what do you think?
Hmm. Yeah. So, uh, the major thing as such, if in case you are developing this, in a local, or even let us say if it's going to be like you have it in a cloud based thing for anything of that. It's more of the 3D rendering that takes little time, which in a way is okay when we think about installation of an app or something like that. I think that is where these both have like their the balance of the pros and cons comes there. The time for installation and doing a native app, and the time to load the object. So I think that's the major kind of a limitation. But and also, what I would say is, at points, if in case, let's say, it's not like in a developer, all these is in a developer end. Definitely not in a user end. I think in a user end, it's like a more flexible stuff. But in a developer end, I think, when you have to deal with the object, and it's a 3D object. So you have to know about how to deal with the 3D object, and you may not know at what point is the user going to see that 3D object. So you must be very uh, good enough in understanding the whole model as such, on how the angles and the things are going to look like, and how each and every component is going to be built. And also, certain times, if you have to embed and get through certain, when you have to do a cross thing of using a certain component which is supportable on A-frame or something, and then you want to migrate it for something else, then there can be a possible variation of glitch that the particular 3D model would be supported in a. I think it's like very same. When you develop in a native app, certain 3D models will go along with Unity, and in the same way, when it comes to A-frame, uh, it's more of like they were just supporting TIFF, which was a 3D model of JPEG initially. I think now it's like kind of more got flexible. So using the 3D model in itself, like unless it's your own made component, using an external 3D model would be initially kind of a, I would say like, you should be very careful in finding out which one it really supports and then use it. And also when you have to vary your platform between one and the other, then like using a cross framework or anything, I think at that point again you have to be very careful in seeing what goes supported. So you need to have a layout in prayer, how is this going to be in the end, whether it's going to be just on a frame or like just one framework, or is it going to go somewhere else, then how would it be exported and things like that. So I think it's most of limitation in the developer end, but I think in the user end, I don't think any foreseen uh, challenges as such.
So is the same web AR experience available for mobile-based browsers? What will be the limitations when switching from web and mobile?
Web and mobile, like sorry, Srija, is it like are they meaning to say a desktop-based browser and a mobile-based browser?
Yeah,
Are they?
of course, the same thing. The same web AR experience available for mobile-based browsers. What will be the limitations when switching from web and mobile?
It's just a screen limitation or the screen resolution you have. So it's not like very, again, nothing really varies. It's like asking, it's like just saying, okay, if I open, say some website on browser, on a desktop browser, and I try to open something on a mobile based browser, how would you really differentiate? Like, yeah, one factor what we would think, it's more of um, what bootstrapped thing into a mobile based browser. That's what we think. Well, it's what we uh, feel, it's like responsive kind of an application. So if you want such kind of responsive applications, you can make that as you can add that to your code. But if you think it's just going to be opening of a camera and adding a virtual object just somewhere, then I don't think it's like if it's more of like marker based, then I think it's just the framework is just going to be the same. Nothing of difference. I think as a whole, there's no difference. But if you're very very sensitive towards how the layout, how the user layout has to be, then you can be doing some responsive layouts accordingly. So I don't think it really differs.
Good. So we are done with the questions, Bhuvana.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bona, for your time. And really sorry for the interruption which happened in the between, guys. Like, I believe like so there were some internet issues she had. And thank you so much for giving the head start for the future technology we're gonna see. So already like we are experiencing the immersive technology now and there in the e-commerce websites and the mobile apps and the product launches like where we see. So it was a great presentation, Bhuvana, and thank you so much for your
Yeah.
time. And thank you so much, guys, for spending your valuable Friday evening with us. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Shrija, and your team for doing this, and also taking up this responsibility to keep your community engaged with some new kind of things like these. And I hope this presentation of mine, or like, I mean, the introduction to this particular technology would have been helpful for many. So thank you very much, and I would love to connect with like-minded ones after the call. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. See you all. Bye bye.